Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Friday afternoon, February 18th. We are looking at Window Trader's market profile of SPY, IWMN, triple Qs. And pretty interesting finish to the week here on options expiration. Nice volume. We're at 120 million already, above average, with the after hours still to come. The sellers follow through today. Now, they didn't hold the trend day. They attempted, but they did follow through. We barely got into yesterday's single prints in SPY. Now, remember, Russell didn't have any. Actually, they did. I apologize. Russell did have the one set of single prints. They filled them. So they took back their trend day from yesterday, kind of went out with a B shape. Qs never even got into their single prints. And remember, they have 3 sets from yesterday. We had 2, and we still have 2. We saw this day really, really well. The only thing that threw me off and the room off a bit was the size of the move up here. I was absolutely looking for an inventory adjustment. Actually had a nice long against before we popped H's high. Started shorting it, nothing big, right around F's high. Added again at E's high. Added in the single prints. And the bigger lot was in here, so when that came in a little bit for me, I took that off. I still had some when it decided to rip higher. We'll go over all the trades in a minute, but 2 things happened. First, I thought the market rallied too early, although it went up after 3 o'clock. That's number 1. And number 2, we have to respect how much short-term players can move a market, right? And algorithms, and they moved it good. But what happened? Anybody who got long up here really got hurt as M flushed them out. I mean, there were a ton of trades. I'll go over them kind of quickly. It was a good day. A period, I took a long first time against yesterday's low, 435 calls, just to see if they would hold it, which it did the first time. Then once we took out the day's low, when it went back up, took a short against the opening, 439 puts, which worked out. I did nothing in B. By the way, we went out with a poor high today. I did nothing in B. When C went lower, we got to the bottom of my 5-day balance, which I'll show you on the chart later. I took a long the first time there, 434 calls, which actually worked out, even though we ended up having single prints. Now, once C closed and we opened with singles, took short. Took a short in at the 439 puts. I took shorts. Against the single prints. Wait, hold on a second. No, I'm sorry. I took a short in C first. So I took the long initially, which worked. Then I shorted C twice against A's low, 439 puts, which worked. Then D flushed out. I took a small long and against the balance low. One more time. Made small. Now D, here's the biggest trade I took. So D ripped down, started going up. I'm like, I didn't expect to fill single prints. I didn't expect to get back into the IB. So I started with a short, started in the hole, but again, I managed it, I thought, very well. I started with a 10. I forgot exactly where I started. It was below C. It was nowhere near the low, but it was below C. Started with a 10 lot. I forgot how, it was a 10. A 20, a 30, and then a 50. I ended up getting to 150 total. But the bigger pieces were right up here. So I was getting hurt on the first couple, but then D came right off. I didn't think they'd fill the singles right away. So that was by far my best trade of the day. Those were the 437 puts. Believe it or not, I lost money on a short and F. I don't know how, but I did. I didn't short it down here. I don't know where I shorted it, but it went up, and I'm like, I'm taking this off. It was only a 10 lot. G period now. I was looking to get to the afternoon pullback low from the 28th of January. I thought that was the last visual level that the market had to hold on to before we get into the 420s. So, didn't take a big one. In G, I did 432s. I took a bigger one in H as soon as we got it. I took I think it was a 30 or 40 lot. I don't write down the amounts. Maybe, I'm not sure if it was a 30 or 40 lot, but as soon as it hit, in fact, it's weak against that afternoon pullback. It rallied, and I got paid very nicely on that in H. I period. I looked like it wanted to pop the top. So I played Innovator. We were still one time framing down all day. I'm like, I think we're going to finally get it. I bought the 432 calls, and it popped, paid me, took them off, came back in, started going back up again, took another lot. Just that one was a much smaller one. I think the first one was 30. That one was only 10. J period. That's where I got hurt. Not a lot, but I got hurt on that short, right? Started it right at F, added at E, added the bigger piece inside the singles. When it filled the singles, it backed off just enough for me to take off the bigger piece for money, so it offset what I was losing on the other ones. And then in K, I still had the put. I had 15 left, and I bought 50 calls. And it popped J's, and as it did, I took those off, so I made nice on the calls. The thing I did wrong, I took the 15 puts off. I should have held them. Should have held them. Took those off for a loss, and they were a decent loss. And then in L, I actually did short the opening again. Should have held it. Made money on that. And then in M, I picked some very visual levels. M period, I told the room, it gets the value low, I'm buying them. And I did. Bought some pretty good size. Started small as we went down, right at value low, boom, added, and M ripped right up. So, lost money on a couple of trades today. One or two. At least two, right? Yeah. But, the winners were really good, especially the short in D was excellent, the long in M. And this one, I really can't, we weren't wrong on the trade, but it stretched more than I thought the market would. That's all. So I think we saw it well. Now, let's go over destinations. And by the way, my granddaughter said the market would be up, down today. Well, she was pretty right? We started here, went down, went up, went down. All right, upside. Afternoon rally high. I hate using it, but I will. L's high. It's the only thing we have. We're only 8 wide. I don't count N period. So we're only 8 wide. 437.41 afternoon rally high. Then today's high of 438.66, which is a poor high. And then you should have the single prints, right? We took some of them out, but then 438.67 to 439.01. And you should have all the other destinations to the upside I gave you yesterday. Downside, today's low is very important. It is now a weekly low, 431.82, and you should have all the destinations I gave last night down to 420.76, so I'm not going over them. Now, let's go to the charts. Let's break them all down. First, we start with Mr. Russell. So nothing's changed in Russell. It's an inside month so far, and the monthly is clearly down. Russell having some big problems, okay? Weekly, again, some people could have called it up last week. I thought since we still are below this high, you could call balance. But now that I didn't realize they had an inside week. Did not realize that. So Russell has an inside week. Now, do you want to still call it up? You want to call it up to balance? Whatever. I mean, to me, it's still balanced. So the monthly's down. The weekly's balanced, and it's an inside week. And then the daily is down. We were balanced, went up, came into balance yesterday, but the fact that we made another low and took out the balance low, even though we closed in it, I'm calling it down. So the monthly's down, the weekly is balanced. The daily is down, and they close below all three of those indices. They close below the 20-day moving average by a little over $1. Let's go to triple Qs. Monthly, down. Inside month again, right? We all have inside months going on right now, but we are down. Weekly, down, right? We were down, went to balance 3 weeks ago. Came out of, you could have called last week balance, and now this is firmly down. So we're down in the weekly. So monthly down, weekly down, daily down. Now look at how they tested almost the bottom of that 4-day balance. And they missed it by $1.15, but they got close to it. We're nowhere near it in SPY yet. So they're below all three of their 20, 50, and 200 moving averages, and all three time frames are down. SPY and ES. Down. Outside month down last month. Inside month so far. Weekly. Down. I never went to up last week. I went to balance. Well, now, to me, the weekly is down. Okay? I never went up. We were down 3 weeks ago, came into balance. Last week, kept it in balance, and we came out of a 2-week balance down. So we are still down on the weekly, and then on the daily, we are down. Okay, now look, here's a bottom of our 4-day balance here, this other 4-day balance, and then the yearly low. So somebody asked me in the room today, well, so what do I expect for next week? It's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. I do know this. I'm flat and I come in unbiased. All 3 time frames are down, right? Monthly, weekly, daily. What's going to change that? Well, obviously, we have to take out today's high. If we take out today's high and take back some of the trend day from yesterday, at least we're back in balance on the daily. However, if you take out today's low, which don't forget is a weekly low, you will go test this 427 level then. And if that doesn't hold, we should go test the yearly low. So I always look at both sides. We take out today's high, we're going to start taking back this trend day from yesterday. Take out today's low, which is weekly, we go test that. And then real quick, on Facebook, since I bought 200 shares, now we did close under that level, 206.16, but that's why I only bought, let me go to the weekly. See, so I only bought 200 because I'm fine with that. Now the next level, to me, is 197, where the heck is it? It's not on the weekly, that's why. It was 197.50, I believe. 198.76, I'm sorry. So if Facebook doesn't hold that, if it gets down to that, I would add to that position, right? Because this is a trade, not a. It's an investment, really, more than a trade, to see if it holds. Any acceptance below here, out, because then your next destination is 150. Now, I don't expect to get to 150 without getting what I said. This market right now is tremendously, right, oversold on a short-term basis. Now, we closed below that level, but it's only one day. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I still expect at some point to get a good rally out of this and make money. Again, I only bought 200 shares. If it goes straight up on Monday, well, I'm still making money on it. If it goes down to that level, I'll buy another 800. And then I'd have my out probably with any acceptance below that 198 level. Anyway, again, thank you for the likes and subscribing. Next video will be Tuesday morning. Enjoy the long weekend. Check us out at camelbacktrading.org, and we'll speak prior to the opening on Tuesday.